Hello ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to create some value drawings of spheres. There's two different techniques I'm going to be showing you today. Both or either one you can use. Alright, so there's two different types of ways of making a sphere. The one on the left has blending from left to right, kind of like a map. And the other one is based off a radial or a spiral from the top right, going out. What I first do is just warm up my hand by doing several circles before I drop my pencil down on my paper. After I get a couple marks, I rotate my paper back and forth and kind of just look for different parts that are not symmetrical or asymmetrical. I go back and erase some marks, I go back and make some more marks, and I keep rotating my paper. This does take a little bit of time, but if you focus and do your best work over time, you'll improve on creating a sphere. Again, I don't want you to trace anything, I want you to do this on your own. Once you have your circle created, create lines of latitude or longitude like a globe, and this is going to be how you're going to be blending. Notice how I'm going up and down, reaching across the whole sphere. I'm not making small short marks, I'm making long marks that go from the top to the bottom, trying to really rotate my whole wrist, my whole arm. I'm working from left to right, from dark to light. So I'm going back and really pushing some of those fours, turning them into a little bit of a five there. And I'm going to continue to do pushing some of those darknesses as we go. Again, your goal, like always, is to have the blend gradually, where you can hardly see the change in color. Now that I'm going on this other side, you'll notice that the sphere is starting to curve the other direction, because you're always trying to create the value in the same shape as the object or the contour line of the object. Now you'll notice in the center there's a lot of very similar shades there, so I'm going back to kind of push some of those areas on the far light, having that 4 reach a little bit further as I move to the right. So again, it takes multiple attempts, multiple overlays or multiple attempts at pressure to make the pencil marks disappear to be tonal, or just a gradual change where you can't really even tell that it's created by a pencil. So this does take multiple laps and multiple times to fill in those areas. When you're doing a cast shadow, again, do like I kind of taught before, the easiest way, 2 horizontal lines, really trying to start with a 5 little darkness and then blend slightly lighter into a 4 from the bottom of your sphere. I'm going now, cleaning this up, really turning the sketch into a drawing by making a really clean, crisp line, and that's how you do that sphere. This other sphere is very similar when you start out, obviously creating a circle. Again, I'm doing the same method from before, where I'm rotating my paper and working or looking for all those different areas that are not symmetrical. And then I'm using my paper or my eraser on the paper to kind of clean up the marks that I don't need, and just working through that. Again, this takes time. It's not going to be a perfect circle right away. You've got to just kind of work on this. And again, I do not want you tracing anything. I want you to work on this hand-eye coordination yourself. So now I'm creating the radial design, or I'm creating that ripple effect. Again, you can kind of create this glare or this ripple anywhere you want. I just have done this one from the top right. So the shading is going to be similar to last time. Again, I'm going from dark to light, but the difference is kind of the pattern. It's going to be more circular than an arch or a curve. But again, I'm still trying to make sure that my hand twists and rotates with the pencil as far and as long as you can. Obviously, it's hard to get that whole curve or that whole C shape, so you have to kind of break it up a little bit. But again, do your best to make those pencil marks as wide and as long as possible. So I'm turning some of those 4s that I originally put in there as 5s early on here, and then I'm just going to kind of blend as I go. You want to make these curves as organic as possible. You don't want them to be linear. You want them to be really curved as you're doing this. Notice as I move to the right, the circle gets tighter. So I'm continuing to kind of rotate around the center point of that highlight on the top right. That's a common mistake people don't do. So really try to continue to make that circle or those C's smaller and smaller and smaller, or tighter and tighter and tighter. Now this is actually the hardest part, going to the lighter areas, because you need few marks. They got to be really soft and really light. So I'm going to show you a tip here in a second. I'm going to use my eraser to kind of clean up some of these areas here. So I'm going to take my eraser and I'm just going to kind of overlap some of those areas a couple times. I'm going to clean off the pencil crumbs, and then you can go back and add some more pencil marks if you need to. But that's a really nice way of eliminating that original kind of template you did with that circle. Again, you don't want to see that circle, that highlight. So I erased it, and then I've kind of helped it blend a little bit more. So I can still see that this was created with pencil marks. I can still see my pencil marks. So I'm going back and trying to, again, erase, fill in the gaps, and try to make this as unable to tell it's a pencil as possible. And again, here I'm doing my same cast shadow again, like before. So as you're working on either one of these spheres, it's really up to you. Do your best at following these consistent techniques and the directions that I've shown you. After you've cleaned up all the pencil marks you don't need, you're good to go.